Welcome to the Depth Dive. Today we're locked in on the NVIDIA GeForce RTX 5070. We've got a detailed technical breakdown here, and we're going to try and cut through the jargon, see what this mid-range Blackwell card really offers.
Yeah, especially for that target audience, right? People aiming for high refresh rate 1440p gaming.
Exactly. Though we should also touch on what it means for, content creation and maybe some AI tasks too.
Sure. So our analysis, it covers the RTX 5070's launch back on March 5th, 2025.
Okay.
It's built using TSMC's 4NP process. Think of that as, well, really advanced manufacturing. Helps with performance, efficiency.
And it's the successor to the RTX 4070.
That's the one. So our goal here is basically to see if it lives up to the hype, the promises, and where it actually fits in the market today for people looking to buy.
Got it. Okay, so headline figures. What are we seeing? The analysis points to about a 20% performance lift over the 4070.
Yeah, on average at 1440p resolution in, let's say, traditional rasterization, so standard gaming scenarios.
So for gamers, that's a noticeable bump. Smoother frame rates makes those fast monitors worthwhile.
Definitely.
But then there's this other angle, NVIDIA's big claim, RTX 4090 performance. How does that work?
Ah, yes. That comes down to DLSS 4, specifically the new multi-frame generation, or MFG.
Right, the AI frame generation thing.
Exactly. The tech can potentially generate up to 3 extra frames for every single one the GPU actually renders.
Yeah.
So it looks much smoother.
3 extra frames. Wow. Yeah, okay, but that 4090 performance tagline needs context, right?
A lot of context.
Yeah.
It relies completely on DLSS 4 being active, and
Yeah.
specifically that MFG feature. It's not, and this is important, it's not reflecting the raw rendering power of the card itself.
Okay, so it's not like it suddenly is an RTX 4090.
Not at all. And it doesn't have the VRAM either. The 5070 has 12 GB, the 4090 has 24 GB. Big difference there.
Good point. And the launch itself was fast.
Very fast.
Yeah.
Just a month after the big boy, the RTX 5090, and only 2 weeks after the 5070 Ti.
Trying to get ahead of AMD.
Seems likely. Preempting AMD's Radeon RX 9070 series, which launched around the same time.
Makes sense. Okay, so architecturally, what's new in Blackwell in this 5070?
Well, you've got 5th Gen Tensor cores. They added FP4 support. Basically, that speeds up certain AI calculations, maybe up to 3x faster in some cases.
AI again, and the RT cores.
4th Gen RT cores. NVIDIA says double the ray triangle intersection throughput, so faster, more complex ray tracing for realistic lighting and reflections.
And memory, that's usually a big one.
Yes. GDDR7 memory support. That gives it a significant boost in memory bandwidth compared to the previous generation. Plus, PCIe 5.0 interface.
So faster data transfer all around.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
It's interesting, the actual chip, the GB205-300 die, it's smaller than the one in the RTX 4070.
Smaller chip, but more performance.
Yeah, the CDA core count only went up modestly to 6,144. A lot of that performance gain, especially that 20%, seems to come from the memory system. That GDDR7 delivers 672 GB of bandwidth.
Wow, okay. That's huge.
It is. That, combined with its 250W power consumption, really shapes its performance profile.
Let's circle back to DLSS 4 and that multi-frame generation. You said up to 3 extra frames.
Potentially, yeah. NVIDIA claims up to an 8x performance increase in, ideal scenarios.
Yeah.
It uses a new Transformer AI model, which they say improves image quality and stability compared to previous versions.
But generating frames adds latency, right? Input lag.
It can, yeah. NVIDIA's counter is Reflex 2 with something called frame warp, which aims to minimize the latency introduced by MFG. How effective it is likely varies by game and situation.
So, bottom line on the 4090 performance, it's a very specific AI-boosted number, heavily dependent on DLSS 4 MFG.
Exactly. Don't mistake it for overall raw power parity or, crucially, VRAM capacity.
Gotcha. What else did Blackwell bring? You mentioned neural shaders.
Right, RTX neural shaders and RTX neural faces. These use AI to supposedly render materials, lighting, and character faces more realistically and efficiently. Still early days for adoption, though.
And for creators. Any specific benefits?
That FP4 support in the tensor cores helps speed up generative AI tasks. And the NVENC encoder, the part that handles video encoding, is enhanced. Up to 6x faster 4.2.2 video encoding in some cases, apparently.
Okay. Performance benchmarks, then. We know the 20% jump over the 4070. How does it stack up against its bigger sibling, the 5070 Ti or AMD?
It definitely trails the RTX 5070 Ti by a significant margin, as you expect, against AMD's RX 9070 series. It's competitive. Some analysis suggests AMD's RX 9070 XT might actually edge it out in pure rasterization-heavy games, the ones that don't lean so much on ray tracing or DLSS.
Interesting. And the VRAM, 12 GB. Is that enough going forward?
That's potentially a concern. For a 1440p right now, it's generally fine. But for future really demanding titles, or if you're trying to push 4K, 12 GB might become a bottleneck sooner rather than later.
And the price? MSRP was $549.
Supposedly, yes. But the launch reality was different. Widespread stock shortages meant street prices were often way higher, sometimes exceeding $700.
Ouch. So finding one at MSRP was tough.
Very tough initially. Availability reportedly improved a bit by April 2025, but getting it at $549 was still a challenge for many.
And how did AMD's cards compare on price and availability?
Well, the RX 9070 series often had similar, maybe slightly higher MSRPs, but crucially they came with 16 GB of VRAM, and reports suggested they were often easier to find closer to their intended prices.
So that 16 GB VRAM plus better availability could have swayed people.
Absolutely. It presented a strong alternative, especially if you weren't locked into the NVIDIA ecosystem or heavily reliant on DLSS 4 right away.
So wrapping up, the value proposition of this RTX 5070 seems really tied to the price you actually paid.
Completely. At MSRP $549, it's a strong card for that 1440p high refresh target. And if you need those specific AI or creator features, it makes sense.
But at those inflated launch prices, say $700 plus EV,
then its value really diminishes, especially when you look at the AMD competition or even potentially older high-end cars.
So for you, the listener, the RTX 5070 is, well, it's a fascinating case study, isn't it? Technology, marketing, market forces all colliding.
It really is. Blackwell brings real advancements, especially with AI features like DLSS 4, but that launch messiness and the fluctuating prices just complicate the picture.
The key takeaway seems to be that RTX 4090 performance for $549 headline. It needs huge asterisks. It's a glimpse of what DLSS 4 can do, not a measure of the card's overall grunt.
Exactly. It's good at its 1440p job, particularly within the NVIDIA ecosystem, but that 12 GB VRAM and those initial price hikes mean you really had to weigh it carefully.
What's really interesting here, though, is NVIDIA's strategy. They are betting hard on AI driving performance and workflows.
It's not just about raw power anymore. It's about using these smart algorithms to push boundaries.
Which leaves us with a final thought for you to chew on. As AI gets deeper into graphics, how is that going to shape your future hardware choices? What will you expect from games and performance down the line?
Yeah, maybe keep an eye on how things like DLSS 4 evolve, how widely games adopt it, and what that actually means for the experience. It's definitely something to watch.
I've included links with more details in the description below, so be sure to check those out. And while you're at it, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, Deep Dive, like the video, and ring the bell for more helpful content. Thanks so much for watching, and have a great day ahead.